Well, here is my very long gondola, or gondola, as some people say. It's upside down, but it's the first time I've fit it together. So I thought I'd make a little video. Basically got 5 pieces. The 2 sides that are welded with 16 gauge steel and then 5/8 inch square tubing make the struts. I've decided to kind of keep it simple on the mounting of the tubing there. So I'm only going to be facing and welding clean this surface. These inside edges are too hard to do. All these tubes are welded from the back. There's a, maybe you can see it a little bit, there's a little rosette weld through this steel to and then ground off smooth. So the sheet metal that makes up the sides, the 16 gauge, is well embedded into the struts. I've been planning on putting a bolt in here, the thread into the center, so the side won't be perfectly smooth if I do that, but maybe I need it for strength. I keep going back and forth. I very well could just weld over these and grind them smooth. I think I'm going to have this attached in so many places that it won't make any difference. I won't need those, because also on the inside I'm planning on having these little angle pieces here. My only fear for strength on this is that anybody pushing out on the sides would cause these bottom flanges to kind of bend in. So I thought if I put these on, and I think that would make it so strong that I would never worry about it again. So there's another piece that's paneled the same way on the end. It's clamped in there. That's a separate piece. It's from here to here. I should look at some of these dimensions, and there are my wheel mounts, truck mounts. I use the Tom B trucks. I like his swinging arm trucks, so they only require about a 6-inch plate to mount on, and then there's a shoulder bolt that goes in here. I'll get another picture of that. And I decided to sort of pre-rig this one for my braking system. Had this idea of welding in chain links so that I could run the tubing through, and this is regular 1/2-inch conduit. Remember, we're looking at this from the all upside down right now. And then that all breaks out here over to the brake mechanism, which is the compensating valve that I call the Thane valve, named after my friend Thane Morris, who kind of developed this for us in our train hobby. But it works just like a Westinghouse valve. And then my ballast tank here, I like to use just plastic tubing. It's pretty simple to make. I can make it exactly the size I want. And the other conduit will carry my electrical wires from one end to the other, because the plate at the end of the car is already made up for one of my trailer connectors that I use for power and DC, an Ethernet connector that I use for the serial control, and then my 2 air connectors. One is just a pass-through of air, and the other is the actual brake control line. So my next video, I'll turn this thing completely over, and we'll take a look at it as the way it would look. It's about 8.5 feet long. I made it so I could put an 8-foot 2x4 inside, which comes out pretty good close scale to a 65-foot gondola. The interior frame is made out of 1x1 steel tubing, 1/8-inch wall. It's real strong. And then the 2x1 center tube, which is the standard coupler mount for this type of setup. So I'm pretty happy. It's looking pretty good. I'll put a piece of sheet metal in the bottom Or I've been actually thinking about not putting any sheet metal, just putting a piece of plywood in the bottom that I can take out and replace. But I have time for that. But right now, it's held together with clamps. And this is, I think, the 26th of November, 2017.